Hello. Okay. So we momentarily had an issue there. I didn't realize the camera was off. There you are. Evening all, and welcome to the Mythical Ireland Library. Just checking, sure. I'm a bit paranoid about the technology now. 1212. Yes, looks like the volume is working there. Good evening to you all. I hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to the Mythical Ireland Library. This is Live Irish Myths episode number 314. I'm your host, Anthony Murphy. For the next hour and a half, we're going to be talking about ancient Irish music, picking up where we left off in the last episode, and in fact, the last of 3 episodes about music in early Ireland. At which point, we're on to the final chapter of P.W. Joyce's A Social History of Ancient Ireland, which deals with medicine and medical doctors. And then we will be finito, as they say. Now, that's going to be 3 or 4 episodes long, so don't get too excited. It could be a spring equinox by the time we actually move on to something new. And maybe we'll talk at the spring equinox about the spring equinox. Wow. Anyway, hope you're all keeping well wherever you are in the world. We're seeing a grand stretch in the evenings here in the Boyne Valley. Spring has sprung, as they say, except for the fact we've had a lot of very dull, overcast, cool weather. We're being kept cool by an easterly breeze. It's 6 degrees here at the moment. Today, myself and a couple of us ventured into County Meath. And for a while this afternoon, the sun was shining. And it was very, very welcome. However, by the strangest of circumstances, when we got back to County Louth, it was overcast again and has been ever since. We are very much looking forward to longer evenings. And I'm very much looking forward to the episode that marks the threshold between speaking to you in the dark, as I'm doing now. Obviously, there's lights on, but I mean, it's dark outside, and having that lovely light streaming in the window. So looking forward to that. Anyway, wherever you are in the world, you're very welcome to the stream. Please do, if you're watching, whether it's on YouTube or on Facebook, please do join in the conversation by commenting, and we will do our best to show all the comments. First to comment tonight is Guido Bruce, who even managed to beat the normally athletic in terms of her beating everyone else to the post, Elaine Dent Lingenfelter. Guido, a very good evening to you. Hope you're keeping well. It's great to see you, and Sláinte, a big hello from the Boyne Valley to you. Elaine Dent Lingenfelter beaten marginally into second place. Hiya, Anthony, and all the two. I hope everyone's doing well. A nice mild 12 Celsius day, but come tomorrow night, we're looking at -9. That is too doggone cold for Texas. Wow, that is cold. Yeah. So bit of a swing there, I'd say. Our temperature has been remaining steady. It's generally been between 4 and 7 degrees during the day, and not much cooler at night. But the thing is, it's cool and it's cold all the time. However, the forecast is saying the Atlantic systems will begin to dominate. And while that means unsettled weather, it also means milder weather with highs of 13 coming in the coming weeks. So fingers crossed. Hopefully we'll see a bit of sunshine too. What's in a Plant is watching on YouTube from San Francisco. A very good afternoon to you. What's in a Plant? I'm pretty sure you're a newcomer. You're very welcome to the stream. Please do, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to the Mythical Ireland channel. Make sure you ring the notification bell for all updates so that you get notified of future streams and video uploads. And don't forget, while you're at it, to subscribe to the Mythical Ireland email newsletter on the website, mythicalireland.com. It's free to do so, and you'll get maximum 1 email per week. Actually, I can't remember when the last one was. It was it's a couple of weeks ago, so I better get writing, as they say. Lily Shambles is saying, evening, hope all are well, X. Thank you, Lily. A very good evening to you. Hope it's not too cool or damp over where you are. Johnny Wilson is also in Texas, where it's 12 Celsius, but by Thursday, -10. Wow. That's a 22 degrees swing. That's incredible. And as Elaine was saying, -9, -10, that's too doggone cold for Texas. Morning. I hope all is well too. Yes, and it's just about afternoon there, isn't it? Just past midday. It's 5 minutes past 8 p.m. here in the Boyne Valley in the east of Ireland. Margaret Hughes is saying hello from Birmingham in the UK. Hello, Margaret. You're very welcome. Hope you're in good form and looking forward to our episode. Rex Fortenberry says, greetings, fair citizens. Nice and cool today in the swamp. Got my turmeric ginger tea and ready to rock. Brilliant stuff. Well, I have my requisite drink, which looks like a Guinness, but I'm not telling you what's really in there. I will let you all speculate. Anne Scott Doherty is saying, happy Monday, everyone. I had the pleasure, as I was telling you last week, of reading Anne's detention homework from the episode in which she was late and marked down as such. And I asked her to study the history of the Irish harp, which she did, but she also wrote a history of the Irish pipes, bagpipes / uilleann pipes. Very good. A very diligent student indeed, whose name will not henceforth be entered into the Black Book, not for some considerable time to come, even as she is late. Michael Pike says, wonderful Mythical Ireland Monday. If you are new, sit back and enjoy. Greetings, Anthony and the mighty Tua. Hello, Michael, and a very, very good afternoon to you from the Boyne Valley. Mariana Dunn says, Banachty there, Tua and Anthony from sunny but windy Alexandria, Virginia, celebrating President's Day, George Washington. Hello and good afternoon to you, Mariana. Hope you are in good form. Yes, it's cold, Margaret is telling Lily. Thought you going for a new look there, Anthony, lol. Yeah, technology kind of, when it's behaving, it's great. PJ 1977 on YouTube says hello from the Pictish Scottish Highlands. A very good evening to you, PJ 1977. I think you're new also. You're very welcome to Live Irish Myths. Hope you enjoy your time here. Please do remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Rocio Mariana Lopez says hi to all the Tua. Sending some sun from Mexico, Puebla, to everyone who's freezing. We're at 24. Only 18 degrees warmer than where we are right now. Hope everyone is doing great. Yeah, if you could spare a few degrees for those of us who are cold, that'd be even more fantastic. And I'm sure you wouldn't miss 3 or 4 degrees off your temperature. Adina Sparks says, afternoon, Anthony on the Tua. A cloudy and breezy 57 Fahrenheit in New Mexico. Hope everyone is having a good start to their week. Not bad. Just checking what 57. That's almost 14 degrees Celsius. That's decent enough. We'll take that, as the man says. Music, yay. Greetings from Connecticut, says Deborah Gilbert. Land of ice and wind. It's not like that all year round, I'm sure. But yeah, we're still, a lot of us in the Northern Hemisphere are still stuck in winter or early spring. So it could be a while before that all thaws out and melts away. Brendan Byrne says, evening from the Valley of St. Kevin. Hello, Brendan. Thank you for your email today. And I have to say, that is really weird. I kind of half feeling I should lodge a complaint with An Post about that. That's the craziest delay. Post going to Ireland from one part of Ireland to another, even by standard post, never mind registered or whatever, should only take 2 or 3 days. That's really unbelievable. Lexi Erickson is here. Hello, everyone. Anthony, Tom, and the family Tua. It's almost 40 degrees here in Denver with a sunny day. Now, that's 40 Fahrenheit, of course. 4.44444 degrees Celsius, I'm assuming. Lexi, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us and for your nice welcome to the new members of the Mythical Ireland community on Facebook. We're continuing to add new members every week, and where you can go to share in ancient myths and legends and history and all of that stuff. So I'll just paste that in as a link, just in case some of you are not in the Mythical Ireland community. You may be interested if you're on Facebook, and just another cool place to hang out, as it were. Sorry, I'm after losing my place because I pasted in that link. Microclimate. Sun, one place, overcast somewhere else. Ireland is a small country, and yet there are places in Ireland that have their own microclimate. This is very true. It's weird. 13 Celsius in San Francisco. If you're going to San Francisco, be sure to wear some flowers in your hair. Lucas Sicardi is saying, hello from Turin, Italy. 4 degrees here. Oh, it's cold in Italy. Buona serata, Lucas. Ciao, grazie. And I hope you're well. Catherine Cleary says, looking out at a cruise ship in the harbour in sunny San Diego warms my heart to be joining you all. Well, we're very glad to have you here, Catherine. And that sounds like a lovely view, by the way. Hope the cruisers are having a great time. 1 Celsius in central England, where Lily is. That's a lot colder than it is here. Put on an extra pair of socks and a scarf and drink a cup of cocoa or something else. You know what I mean? Something else like the drop of the creator. Barbara Murphy, no relation, but I'm sure I'd be perfectly happy to have her as a relation because she likes books. She sounds like a long-lost auntie of some kind. Hello all from a lovely Tucson, Arizona. High in the mid-70s. Last day working at the Gem Show. So here for a few minutes. How long is that Gem Show going on for? It feels like it's going on for like weeks. By the way, that's 21 Celsius. So Arizona, just be aware of it. All of you are in the States. Arizona, and I know Rex talks about the swamp because Louisiana tends to have very high humidity. Arizona sounds like it's nice in the winter, but you might not want to be there during the summer. 2 degrees in Birmingham. Yes, well, thank you, says Margaret. You're very welcome. Joe Butler, Auntie Joe, says hello from Colorado. Another snowstorm is moving in here. We have had a series of snowfalls of 1 inch or so with melting in between, but we always say Colorado needs the moisture. Keep warm, Joe. And yeah, keep the windows closed and the door shut up and the fire lit, you know. Guinness glass filled with water. Is that supposed to be water? That's how we say it in Drogheda, actually. Water. 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 Do you want a glass of water? Tom King on Gower, the smith of the smooth road of the Boyne Valley, is in the house. Hello there, Anthony and the Mighty Two. A stout fire going and working away. Time for a wee nippy sweetie. Feet up for story time. Enjoy. Tom, that sounds like the life, you know, except for the fact that you're probably outdoors and it's cold. But yeah, the nippy sweetie is well deserved, I can tell you. Tara Moore, M0RE. Look at that. Very clever. Tara Moore is excited to tune in and also watching on YouTube. And also, I'm not sure that we've seen you before. Tara, you're very welcome to Live Irish Myths. Hope you have fun here and enjoy the learning and the education, if that's what you call it, and the fun. And also, just to remind you that this is episode 314. So if you happen to be really interested in what you hear, there are 313 previous episodes archived on the YouTube channel for you to dip into at your leisure. Rowan Grove says, another Coloradan here. Cloudy at my house. Yeah, and give us the real deets. Give us the details. What temperature is it? Because I know it's cold. Yep, my daughter is in Westcliff, Colorado. Chilly desert. Yeah, I can imagine. Lexi is telling Rowan it's sunny on the ranch. So they're not too far apart. One is sunny, one is under cloud. Who else have we got? Wayne Bird. Did I say hello to you earlier, Wayne? I don't think I did. So maybe I'll say hello anyway. Lots of conversation going on, which is brilliant. Pauline Bradley and protest in Har something. Pauline, originally from Derry, now in Scotland. Snow is expected tonight here. Oh, wow. Snow in Scotland. Wow. Keep her warm there, Pauline. A drop of the crater is what we all recommend. Or as Tom King calls it, a drop of the nippy sweetie. Laughing because when I woke this morning, it was minus 37 Celsius. And warming up to a minus 30. Got to love Canada. Oh my goodness me, Tara. That is unbelievable. Minus 37, warming up to minus 30. Oh, crikey. I don't think we've had minus 30 in Ireland since the Ice Age. I'm serious. That's unbelievable. Ernest Mostly is saying Gra o Alba. Hello, Ernest, mostly on YouTube. So we've got lots of new viewers this evening. Brilliant stuff. Most of them watching, or all of them watching on YouTube. Ernest, welcome to you. See what I did there? Anyway, I bet you've never heard jokes about your name before or involving your name. Ernest, you're very, very welcome. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Great to see you. And yeah, sure, you're only over the water there. We could nearly hang out the window and shout across the sea at each other. I mean, I'm not talking about shouting obscenities or having a row, of course. Bestowing many platitudes and compliments on each other. Heather Marie Leaning is in the house. Evening, everyone. And a smile and a wave. Brilliant stuff, Heather Marie. Thank you for brightening up our evening on the channel. And Lexi is saying hello to Auntie Joe. Looking forward to seeing you on Sunday. Oh, the ladies have something planned. Why didn't I get an invite? Because I'm 3,000 miles away or more. Amanda June Haggerty says, hello. Did I miss the promised poll about which is the best place to live in Ireland? You missed one last week. Actually, you've just reminded me that I did promise that we would do the same thing this week. And I'm going to use the Lilac book for that, the non-threatening, the non-obsidian book. So I'm going to, as we speak, this is episode number 314. And the poll this week has to involve the county of Meath. Okay, so that's going to be one of the options. So stand by, because when I finish the greetings, we will have our weekly poll. Weekly, we run it every single week, starting last week. So our second weekly poll of 5 places in Ireland, and which is the one that you would most like to live in if you were to move here. Rossio, I know we haven't started the reading, but I would like to suggest that maybe we could read about the Ogham writing someday, please, Mr. Anthony. Oh, of course, yes. I have a book about Ogham, which I'd be glad to read from. Grace Walker says, hi, and then to all. Brilliant stuff, Grace. You're very welcome. Hope you're keeping well. Good evening. Welcome to the stream. Deborah Gilbert is saying hello to all the new viewers and making them all feel welcome. Isn't that brilliant? MGP just says, Kerry. Hang on a second now, before you get carried away. I didn't say whether Kerry would be in the poll or not. Or maybe you're just telling us where you're from. MGP, I'm not sure we've seen you before. Watching also on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. MGP, hope you have a great evening and you enjoy our delving into the early history of Ireland. We will be talking mostly history this week. Not so much myth and legend, but where we can, we will. Anthony, here's your invite to meeting me, Joe, and me on Sunday. We are reading If Women Rose Rooted book club for dinner. You're always welcome. Oh, yeah, I've heard of this. Who's the author of that book, If Women Rose Rooted? I know that book has been mentioned to me on several occasions. Yeah, okay. Okay, right. I have a second suggestion for our poll. Grace is going to say Donegal again. Now, I think Donegal was in last week's poll, so it won't be in this week's poll. Am I right? Yeah, Donegal was the winner, actually, last week. Donegal, followed by Connemara, followed by Sligo, followed by Cork, followed by Clare. So let me just think about this for a minute. Oh, yes. Okay, I have 3. Now I only need 2 more. Let's pick 2 sort of more obscure ones. Yes. There's one, not obscure, but just not exactly what you'd call tourist hotspots. Some of these are, but some of them aren't. One more. Ah, yes. Right. The 5 are, according to Brendan Byrne, Meath, and Wicklow. MGP is suggesting awfully. No, I heard it's awfully cold in Burr. So back in, I think it was 2010, we had a week where it was snowing and freezing. And I think it was the Irish Mirror. It was one of the red top tabloid newspapers. Had its main headline the next day, after the coldest night ever recorded in Burr in County Offaly. The headline was, "It's awfully cold in Burr." Brilliant. Inspired stuff. I'm torn between Kilkenny and somewhere in the Gaeltacht. Kilkenny's not on the list this week, but remind me to put it on in the future. So future poll, Kilkenny will have to go on there. And there was one other one I thought, Offaly, yes, yeah. So they will be maybe next week. So here it is, folks. Here is your poll. Which of these 5 areas, if you were to move to Ireland, presuming you're not already living in Ireland, or even if you live in Ireland already and you would move, which of these following places? Now, most of these are counties, but one of them is a town. There's probably a reason for that, and we might explain that. If you need an explanation, I'll explain it. So your choices are, I'm going to type this in. Your choices are, number 1, Meath. Number 2, Dingle, the town. Ondangan. 3 is Wicklow, the county. 4 is Mayo, the county. And 5 is Laois, the county. So there you go. There's your poll. Votes will start to be taken now. And I shall count them very carefully and make sure to double check. So there you go. Guten Abend, says Dronf. Good evening from Switzerland. Guten Abend, mein friend. And what's the... Oh, she's not listening. What is the German? Hey, English, German. I'm not using Google Translate right now. Guten Abend, mein Freund. Oh, it depends on whether it's feminine or masculine. Mein Freund or mein Freundin. There you go. Mein Freund. Yes. Guten Abend, mein Freund. Okay, so here we go. Here the votes are starting to come in. Joe Butler votes for Meath. Hang on, I'll use a different coloured pen for the votes. Joe Butler says Meath. That's 1 for Meath. Okay, actually, do you know what? I'm going to put the names so that I make sure people don't vote twice. And I'm not saying that you would do that. You might do it by accident. Joe. Mariana says Dingle. Elaine says Meath and Dingle Crystal, but we're just going to take one, which is Meath, Elaine. Michael Pike says Meath. Oh yeah, for a future poll, Drogheda has to be on the list. Absolutely. Finest city in Ireland. Michael Pike says Meath. Adina Sparks says Wicklow. Lexi Erickson says Meath. I think I know who's winning this one. John Finlay says Wicklow is beautiful. You're not wrong, John. You are not wrong. Said mein Freund. Rex Fortenberry says Wicklow. Oh, it's starting to be a tie. Oh, this is looking good. Anne Scott Doherty says Mayo. Brilliant stuff, Anne. Don't go with the crowd. Johnny Wilson also says Mayo. But that's only, of course, because Drogheda is not on the list. Tara Moore, M0RE, says Dingle because of that adorable movie. Okay. This is fun. Yeah, Dronf. Freund is masculine. Brilliant. No contest, says Brendan. We are called the Garden of Ireland for a reason. Of course, Brendan, if you didn't know it already, is in County Wicklow. Joyce's country, Mayo, says Maureen. Voting with your surname, huh? Brilliant. Bill says Meath. Okay. Bill D. That's all right. Laois says Margaret, number 5. So far, Margaret is the only vote for number 5. Controversial. Grace Walker says Mayo. Okay. Says Amanda. I don't know about most of these choices. I saw a documentary about Dingle, I presume, autocorrect, and it looked pretty cool, but I have to choose Wicklow because I've heard it's very sunny. The sunny southeast. Amanda is choosing Wicklow. Amanda JH. Okay. Rowan Grove chooses Dingle. Okay. Tuesday Thompson is choosing Mayo. Okay. My favourite bookstore is in Castlebar and in the Gaeltacht. Brilliant stuff. John Finlay is choosing Wicklow, which was number 3. John Finlay. Okay. Rossio says Dingle or Meath. Well, we'll take your first choice, and that is Dingle. Rossio, your vote has been counted. Heather Marie, I don't know, but I feel Laois is being left out, so I'll give it a vote. Ah, good. Yeah, excellent. Make it fair. Okay. Popping in a little late, says Desiree. Always, as is the case, better late than never. A wizard is never late. Saying Meath won't keep you out of the black book. We want to be near you and Tom. Well, Meath is the choice then in that case. Catherine Cleary is saying, and all the choices, just wish I was there. Okay, very straightforward. Anywhere in Ireland, says you. Was Irish music also mostly in pentatonic scale? Oh my God, what a question. I don't know. Dronf can't immediately answer that. We should find a housing development in Meath to accommodate all of us that want to move there. Great plan. Who's providing the finances? Burr Whelan is here. Hello, Burr. We're just taking the votes. Wicklow says Barbara Murphy. I can't afford Meath. Okay. Where are we here now? Monaghan not on the list, but that's my pick. Deborah. Right. I'm going to put that on the list for a future poll. You can vote for that when it's actually on the list. How does that sound? Amanda June is suggesting Dunleary for a future poll. Interesting choice. But of course, she tells us the reason. Oh, that Dingle, says Lily. That's Lily S. Thank you, Lily, for your vote. I'm choosing Wicklow, says Burr, even though she doesn't know what we're voting for. It's where you would live if you had to move, either from somewhere in Ireland to somewhere else in Ireland, or from abroad to Ireland. Dublin for Sam, Mayo for sandwiches. Michael Pike says Meath. Did we not count you already, Michael? We did. Yeah, we definitely did. Edina Sparks says, yeah, we counted you. Okay, I'm seeing repeated. Sorry, that's my, it's just repeating here. So, Anne McCallum is saying hello, but she can't stay. Oh, dear. 2 horrific snowstorms back to back over the weekend. Lovely looking out the window, but bitterly cold and so much snow. Stay well, Anne. Good to see you, and thank you for dropping in to say hello. Does Meath have silver beaches? It does. It has some stretch of beach between Mornington down through Bettystown into Laytown and down into Gormanston. Yeah, it does have a lovely stretch of coastline. What's in a plant, says Wicklow. And Pauline says Sligo, but that was on last week's list and is not on this week's list. This week's list is Meath, Dingle, Wicklow, Mayo, or Laois. We could do a GoFundMe to acquire the necessaries. Yeah, I mean, buying an entire development is only going to cost a few million. So let's get fundraising. So I'm going to close the voting in 30 seconds. So if you haven't got your vote in, please do get your vote in now. The choices for where you would most live in Ireland out of this list: Meath, County Meath, the town of Dingle, the county of Wicklow, the county of Mayo, or the county of Laois. 20 seconds left to cast your vote. And in the meantime, let me count where we are here. Interesting. Okay. Desiree says Meath. So thank you, Desiree. And I'm now going to close the vote. So if you haven't voted already, unfortunately, Brendan, working in Gormanston today. Wow. We're up this neck of the woods. Brilliant. So the voting is closed. Here is the result. I've added to Ziray's vote. Where of these places would you most like to live? Hang on a second. I just have to put Glens of Antrim for future list, as suggested by John Finlay. Okay. In last place with 2 votes, it is the county of Laois. In fourth and joint second place with 5 votes, actually, there are 3 places with 5 votes apiece. So they're really in second. And they are, in no particular order, Mayo, Dingle, and Meath. Which means, drumroll please, that in today's poll, ahead by what we might call quite a margin, with 8 votes, is, and I think Brendan Byrne may have been messaging people in the background saying, say Wicklow, say Wicklow, say Wicklow. In first place with 8 votes, it's Wicklow. So Wicklow in first, Meath, Dingle, and Mayo in joint second, and Laois in third place. So there you go. Wicklow wins it this week, even beating Meath. Wow. I guess mountains are more appealing to some people than megaliths. Can't say I'm not disappointed. Although there are some megalithic monuments in Wicklow, but not as many and not as spectacular as the ones in Meath. Marina Mighty Tua from Mighty Waikato, New Zealand. Good morning, Ivania. Ivania Lee is joining us from down under, way down on the far side of the planet in New Zealand, Aotearoa. And good morning. Thank you for tuning in so early. I had hoped to make Wicklow great again. Well, Wicklow's back on the maps, folks. Wicklow? Oh no, says Elaine. Controversial. And Elaine, I can assure you, has visited many parts of Ireland, so she really knows her stuff. But not sure quite why she's dissing on Wicklow. Anyway, we better get going with the reading. That's enough of those distractions. That's an interesting one that we started last week, and sounds like it might be rigged, says Michael. Yeah, well, I can't believe Meath didn't win. I literally can't believe it, you know. Anyway, says a loud man. Never mind. Next week, maybe. Yeah, I think Brendan Byrne has had just too much influence in that, or maybe I'm giving him too much credit. Maybe he doesn't have as much influence as he thinks he has. Charlotte Epifanio is saying hello, Michael from North California. It's been a spell since I was here, and happy to be here. Well, we're happy for you to join us because we're just about to begin our reading, the third of 3 about music in early Ireland. And we were saying last week that the ancient Irish must have used harmony, as appears from Giraldus's mention of the little strings tinkling under the deeper tones of the bass strings. And this is borne out by several words and expressions in native Irish writings. There are at least 7 native words for concerted singing or playing, indicating how general was the custom. Covshenum, Coichatul, Iveshe, Kepog, Closh Ketchel, and Falconer. Covshenum is from Cove, C-O, Father M, together, and Shenum, playing, or playing together. This word occurs in an instructive illustrative note by the commentator on the Aura, explaining Kesh, C-E-I-S, in one of its applications as, quote, a small crutch, C-R-U-I-T, or harp that accompanies a large crutch in Covshane, or concerted playing. And if you want to follow the source on that, you can read Stokes in Revue Celtique, volume 20, page 165, showing a harmonic combination of instrumental music. Now, that is true, John Finlay. Glendalough is magical. It is truly one of the most beautiful places in the world. Can't take that away from Wicklow. It's really superb. Megaliths are majorly important, says Lexi. All the archaeological sites and close to the Great Forge and the Great Library. Yeah. Wicklow is lovely, says Elaine, but over Meath, Dingle, Mayo, Donegal. Well, actually, the last choice this week was Laois. Never, says Elaine. Ooh, controversial. No Christmas card to you, says Brendan. As Cove Shanum was applied to the music of instruments, Cockachul, just having trouble reading the, doesn't have a comma on it this time for some reason. Cockachul refers to the voice, meaning, as it is explained in Cormac's glossary, singing together, from Ketul, C-E-T-U-L, singing. When the poets had been freed at Drumketa by the intercession of St. Columba, the preface to the Aura tells us that, quote, they made a mighty music by all singing together for Columba to honour him, and Aivshe is the name of that music, unquote. And in another part of the preface, it is said that, quote, they used to make that music, i.e. Aivshe, singing simultaneously. In one of the old glosses of the Aura, it is stated that among the people of Alban, or Scotland, the Aivshe, or chorus singing, was called Kepog, C-E-P-O-G in Irish, but pronounced like K-E-P-P-O-G-E, Kepog. But this word was used in Ireland too. Ferloga, in the tale of MacDoho's pig, says to Concovar, quote, the young women and girls of Ulster shall sing a kepog round me each evening, unquote. And Amergin the poet, lamenting the death of Aherne, says, quote, I will make a kepog here, and I will make his lamentation, unquote. It appears from all these references that the Aivshe, or kepog, was a funeral song. Closh, C-L-A-I-S-S, Latin classis, meaning a choir, a number of persons singing together. In one of the Zeus glosses, persons are mentioned as singing the psalms for closh, i.e. in choir. And from this again comes closh ketchel, choir singing. The Latin succino, S-U-C-C-I-N-E, as in, is that related to succinct? I.e. subcano, I sing under, or in subordination to another, I accompany. Yes, succinct, I think. I think what I'm saying is that the Latin word succino is almost undoubtedly related to the English word succinct. The English word succinct probably being derived from the Latin succino, is glossed in Zeus by the Irish foaconium, which has precisely the same meaning, from foa, under, and conium, I sing, showing independently of the existence of the native word foaconium, that it was usual for one person to accompany another. Moreover, quote, singing under, end quote, fo, F-O, and that word F-O in Middle Irish, meaning under and many other things, or subordinate to another, could not mean singing in unison or in octave, but what we now mean by the expression singing a second, i.e. in simple harmony. Ceol, music, and Bineus, melody or sweetness, are in the old writings distinguished from Cuivius, C-U-I-B-D-I-U-S, Cuivius. This last being a further development, to be understood, no doubt, as harmony. And John is telling us about Excalibur, filmed at Glendalough in 1981. Thus, in an ancient passage quoted by Professor Kuno Meyer in Hibernia Minora, it is said that, quote, David added Bineus and Cuivius to the Psalms, meaning, apparently, that he put melody to the words and harmony to the melody. And further on in the same passage, quote, the Holy Spirit inspired in Asaph's mind the ceol, or music, i.e. the melody merely, and the sense that are in the psalm, and David added Cuivius, or harmony, to them, unquote. That Cuivius means harmony that cuivgus means harmony appears also from O'Daveron's glossary, which was compiled from ancient authorities, where he defines rin, or inn, a certain kind of arrangement of music, as ciol co cuivgus in the eye, music, quote, with cuivgus in it, unquote. It is to be noticed, too, that in Cormac's glossary, the word symphonia is used as applicable to the music of the tympan. In some of the above examples, the singing, and didn't we say last week or 2 episodes ago when we were doing the first episode on music, a tympan is a stringed instrument, but the body of it resembling a drum with a neck for the strings. And didn't I say it was something akin to not the ukulele? What was the other one I said? Not the banjo. I forget it. Tom King, help me out here. What was the musical instrument that we said it's not a ukulele and it's not a banjo, but it would have a bowl-shaped or a drum-shaped body and a neck, and it's short. It's like a real small instrument. Mandolin. Thank you, Lucas. Yes, the mandolin. Thank you. Yeah. The tympan. And the reason we said, or the reason it was said, it seems to relate to that word tympan, which sounds like timpani, a kettle drum. Yes, you said mandolin. Yes, indeed. Oh, Tom is thinking of a lute. Oh, yes, a mandolin or a lute. Yes, a lute would be similar. Yeah. But the reason tympan and timpani is the kettle drum in the orchestra or the brass band, is because of the tympan, the drum shape of the body of the tympan. Anyway, we're thinking something like a mandolin or a lute. In some of the above examples, the singing or playing together might mean merely in unison or in octaves, but coupling all the Irish expressions with that of Cambrensis, we must conclude that the Irish harpers and singers used harmony, though no doubt it was of a very simple kind. Why is he saying no doubt? How does he know that? The Irish musicians had 3 styles, the effects of which the old Irish Romance writers describe with much exaggeration, as the Greeks describe the effects produced by the harp of Orpheus. Of all 3, we have numerous well-marked examples descending to the present day. The Gonthry, which excited to merriment and laughter, is represented by the lively dance tunes and other such spirited pieces. The Galtry expressed sorrow, represented by the knees or death tunes, many of which are, the keens, not the knees, the keens, Keens, or death tunes, many of which are still preserved. And the Soantry produced sleep. And of course, we're thinking here of the Dog Does Harp, because wasn't the Dog Does Harp, Uthna, able to produce 3 types of music that would make men happy, music that would make men sad, and music that would make men sleep. Dron for saying lute, not mandolin. Okay. And the banjo is very apt because it's actually made with a snare, of course. This style is seen in our lullabies or nurse tunes, of which we have numerous beautiful specimens. 2 of these styles, sorrow music and mirth music, are explained in Cormac's glossary. Probably the oldest example of the words of a lullaby that has come down to us is that composed by Murren for her son Finn when he was 6 years old, of which the Psalter of Cashel copied the story, the boyish exploits of Finn. Machnever ha Find. As old an authority as Cormac's glossary preserves the first line, and unfortunately only the first. Cuddle Shay Son Cuddle Ray Sonon Saiva. Sleep, my child, with pleasant slumber. Which is the same as the beginning of some of our modern Irish nurse songs. And I presume by nurse songs he means nursery rhymes. Movanway Millward just sneaking in. Do I have to produce the Obsidian book? What time do you call this? That's not late. That's like almost over. What are we doing? And, you know, Brendan Byrne has the perfect advice, which is to say nout. When you're creeping in late like that, you wouldn't have known otherwise. All you had to do was say, oh, you didn't see my earlier comment. I said hello, but you didn't see it. So I'm saying hello again. I know you wouldn't lie because you're too good for all that, you know. Anyway, yes, no, says Mavanway. No, it's okay. I just feel that, you know, the Obsidian book perhaps isn't there. Maybe it's just not. I just in a kind of a good mood. I'm in a good mood for letting you all away with stuff that I probably shouldn't let you away with it. Anyway, among the higher classes, both young and old were often lulled to sleep with music and song, so that the Soan tree must have been in constant requisition. In the Battle of Rosnaree, taken from the Book of Leinster — Rosnaree is only a few miles west of me here, by the way — we are told that the guests in Dundalgan, quote, were put into their sleeping rooms and lay on their couches, and tunes and songs and eulogies were sung to them till they fell asleep, unquote. The custom of lulling people of all ages to sleep by music or singing is very frequently noticed in the tales, though it was oftenest used with children, and it continued to our own time, as I have the best reason to remember. The Irish, absolutely highly honest, yeah. Imagine we were in a real classroom, a real lecture theatre. You wouldn't be able to sneak in without people noticing, and I'd have the whole room turn around and look at you as you walk to your seat, you know, just to make you feel awkward. I'm joking, of course. I see there was more county voting. Can I add my vote for Meath? No. No, we concluded it. Oh, that's terrible, because that would have put Meath in second place instead of joint second place. But anyway, not to worry. But we will take your. I'll take note of your late vote, Meath, and that is Mavanway, which would put me, you know, on 6 points, which would put it second place and would put Dingle and Mayo on joint third and Laois on fourth. Liam Smith is also Liam. Have you learned nothing? Just keep stum. Just sneak in and just join the conversation. I won't even notice. I'm telling you. The worst thing you can do is to announce your lateness, your tardiness. No, it's okay. Come here. Go in and sit down and stop disrupting the class, will you? Yes. The Irish had also what may be called occupation tunes. The young girls accompanied their spinning with songs, both air and words, made to suit the occupation. Special airs and songs were used during working time by smiths. Do you hear me, Tom? You have to start singing something. By weavers and by boatmen. And we still have a smith's song, the notes of which intimate the sound of the hammers on the anvil. Wow. Interesting. Wouldn't mind hearing that, actually. You know? Like Handel's Harmonious Blacksmith. Wow. At milking time, the girls were in the habit of chanting a particular sort of air in a low, gentle voice. These milking songs were slow and plaintive, something like the nurse tunes, and had the effect of soothing the cows and of making them submit more gently to be milked. Wow. I don't think many Irish farmers practice that today, you know, chanting airs to calm the cows. This practice was common down to 50 or 60 years ago. Remember, this book was published in 1903, so around the time of the famine, up to the time of the Great Famine in the 1840s, by the looks of it. And I remember seeing cows grow restless when the song was interrupted and become again quiet and placid when it was resumed. Wow. Singing to the cows. The old practice also prevailed in Scotland and probably has not yet quite died out there. Martin, page 155, don't know what book that is, says that in his time, 1703, When a cow was enraged by the loss of her calf, the last remedy used to pacify her is to use the sweetest voice and sing all the time of milking her. And referring to our own time, Carmichael, in his Carmina Gaelica, says, quote, "The cows become accustomed to these lilts and will not give their milk without them, nor occasionally without their favourite airs being sung to them." Talk about singing for your supper, eh? And so generally, is this recognised that, as he tells us, girls with good voices get higher wages than those that cannot sing? Wanted, milkmaid, must be able to sing. When I used to work in the bird hospital, says Amanda, I used to sing to our resident parrot. He really enjoyed Baba Black Sheep, lol. It's funny, isn't it? Animals are, you would think, responsive to music, you know. I sing to the cows all the time, mostly in their own language, says Rex. I can only imagine what that sounds like. Valentina is saying hello from Glastonbury. Good evening to you, Valentina. To the Isle of Avalon. Yes, we need to hear this Smiths song, says Desiree. Wow, says Tom. And we need to hear it sung by Tom himself. Although, as you know, Tom is quite an accomplished singer. And referring back to the earlier discussion, also an accomplished banjo player too. Wow. Burr Whelan. Would we call that a musical? Brilliant. Yes. I don't know. That's just brilliant. That's probably as good a joke as I could expect to come up with myself. And I'm quite renowned for my side-splitting humor. When ploughmen were at their work, they whistled a particularly wild, slow, and sad strain, which had as powerful an effect in soothing the horses at their hard work as the milking songs had on the cows. Plough whistles also were quite usual down to 1847, and often when a mere boy did I listen enraptured to the exquisite whistling of Phil Gleeson on a calm spring day behind his plough. There were, besides, hymn tunes, and young people used simple airs for all sorts of games and sports. In most cases, words suitable to the several occasions were sung with lullabies, laments, and occupation tunes. Like the kindred Scotch, each tribe had a war march which inspired them when advancing to battle. Specimens of all these may be found in the collections of Bunting, Petrie, Joyce, and others. We have evidence that these occupation tunes were in use at a very early time. For, in Cormac's glossary, it is stated that while the Fianna were cooking their open-air dinner after their day's hunting, they chanted a kind of music called Esnod, or Eshnod. Brilliant. Just checking how well we are advancing with the reading. Okay, that's okay. All right. The music of Ireland. Amadeus sings to me joys of sharing life with a husky. Yeah, Saskia sings when she's hungry, but she mostly yelps very loudly. And being deaf, she can't hear herself, so she doesn't know that she's gotten louder over the years, you know. Pilar Christine on YouTube says, I sing lullabies to my cat who has cancer to soothe her, and her pet fish loves it also. Ah, nice thing to do though, isn't it? And to get that response from animals kind of makes you realize it's not just a human thing to like music, you know. The song of Finvara, two maidens are milking their goats, comes to mind. Or the Yaos. Don't know that one. Give us the air of it there, Valentina. I would not get a job as a milkmaid with my voice. Neither would I can tell you. I used to sing to my firstborn. As soon as she could speak, she told me not. Brilliant, brilliant. Desiree, my Malamute could sing and did so all the time. Wow. As an aside, I'm learning Gaeilge, and if I could learn lullabies as Gaeilge, it would help so much. Wow. Yeah, that would be a lovely thing to do, wouldn't it? The music of Ireland, like our ballad poetry, has a considerable tendency to sadness. The greater number of the keens, lullabies, and plough whistles, and many of our ordinary tunes, are in the minor mode, which is essentially plaintive, even though it is often used in lively tunes. And the same plaintive character is impressed on many of the major airs by a minor seventh note. This tendency to sadness was the natural outcome of the miseries endured by the people during long centuries of disastrous wars and unrelenting penal laws. But it is a mistake to suppose that the prevailing character of Irish music is sad. By far the largest proportion of the airs are either light-hearted dance tunes or song airs full of energy and spirit without a trace of sadness. One of the things that really moved me when I watched a documentary a number of years ago by Seamus Ennis, the famous uilleann piper and folklore collector, about how he collected well over 100 songs from one man in Connemara, and how, despite all the misery and the poverty and the simplicity of life in rural Ireland for centuries, there was this unrelenting, unextinguishable, indefatigable joy and merriment to many of the tunes that he collected. And I suggested at one time in a talk that I gave, I think at the Bridget of Fort Festival in Dundalk, I think that was the one, and the recording of that might be on this YouTube channel. I spoke about how I thought that that was one of the things that got us through the trauma of the centuries. There was something unrelenting about the Irish spirit, and it brought to mind the mythological and even the prophetical stuff about the Tuatha De Danann. You know, that there's something in the Irish spirit that never wanes or dies or cannot be extinguished. And if you want a kitsch version of that, have a look at Titanic when what's his name and what's her name, Rose and Jack are at the Hoolie, the Cayley down in third class down in steerage, and you know, despite the poverty and the fact that many of those people were leaving Ireland never to set foot in Ireland again to try and make some sort of a living in the States, they were singing and dancing with such unrelenting joy. That's always impressed me, that spirit of the Irish music. So yeah, don't get the impression that all Irish music is plaintive and melancholic and lamentable. Mark Gordon has joined us from Iowa. A very good afternoon to you, Mark. I will not bring out the Obsidian book today, although I have every right to, the number of you who have arrived late. But because there's so many people here, I won't make an example of you. But let that be your final warning. Be on time. You're very welcome, Mark, of course. Modern collections of ancient Irish music. In early times, they had no means of writing down music, and musical compositions were preserved in the memory, just like stories and poems were, and handed down by tradition from generation to generation. But in the absence of written record, many were lost. While we have in our old books the Irish words of numerous early odes and lyrics, we know nothing of the music to which they were sung. It was only in the 17th or 18th century that people began to collect Irish airs from singers and players and to write them down. Some attempts were made at home early in the 18th century, but later on more effectual measures were taken. Several meetings of harpers, the first in 1781, were held at Granard in the County Longford, under the patronage and at the expense of James Dungan, a native of Granard, then living at Copenhagen. Each meeting, Valentina has shared a YouTube link. Drink down the moon, Bonaparte crossing the Rhine. Where was I? I'm after losing my place. Silly me. Yes, then living at Copenhagen. Each meeting was terminated by a ball at which prizes were distributed to those who had been adjudged the best performers. Dungan himself was present at the last ball when upwards of 1,000 guests, as we are told, assembled. A few years later, a meeting to encourage the harp was organised in Belfast by a society of gentlemen under the leadership of Dr. James MacDonald. This meeting, which was held in Belfast in 1792 and which was attended by almost all the nobility and gentry of the neighbourhood, was followed by more practical results than those held at Granard. The harpers of the whole country had been invited to attend, but the confiscations, the penal laws, and the social disturbances of the preceding century and a half had done their work. The native gentry, who loved music and patronised the harpers, were scattered and ruined, and the race of harpers had almost died out. Only 10 responded to the call, many of them very old, and most of them blind. The decayed representatives of the great harpers of old. Edward Bunting, a local musician, was appointed to meet them, and after they had all exhibited their skill in public, and prizes had been awarded to the most distinguished, he took down the best of the airs they played. This was the origin of Bunting's well-known collection of Irish music. He published 3 volumes, the first in 1796, the second in 1809, and the third in 1840. Another collection, edited by George Petrie, was published by Holden of Dublin in the year 1840. A volume of Caroline's airs was published by his son in 1747 and republished by John Lee of Dublin in 1780. But many of Caroline's best airs are omitted from this collection, and it poorly represents the great composer. A large number of Irish airs were printed in 4 volumes of a Dublin periodical called The Citizen in 1840 and 1841. And these were followed up by a special volume of airs by the editor. In 1844 was published The Music of Ireland by Frederick W. Horncastle of the Chapel Royal, Dublin, a number of airs with accompaniments and English words. Most of the airs had been already published, but some appeared then for the first time, among which was the very beautiful Soantry called The Fairy's Lullaby. In 1855, a large volume of Irish music, hitherto unpublished, was edited under the auspices of the Society for the Preservation and Publication of the Melodies of Ireland by Dr. George Petrie. And the first number, i.e. the 4th part of a volume, was printed but never published. A volume of airs never before published was edited by me in 1873, collected by myself from singers and players in the course of many years. A second installment of the Petrie collection was printed in 1877, edited by F. Hoffman. And in relation to Dustin, these are the principal original collections of Irish music extant. Other collections are mostly copied from them. About 1870, Bussell of Dublin issued a large collection of Irish airs, Bussell, edited by Dr. Francis Robinson, with a good introduction on Irish music by George Farquhar Graham. All the airs in this had been published before. Later on, 2 volumes of the Dance Music of Ireland were edited by Mr. R.M. Levy of Dublin, Levey, some of which then appeared for the first time. Dr. Charles Villiers Stanford has quite recently, 1902 to 1903, edited the whole of Petrie's collection, about 1,800 airs, the simple melodies without accompaniments, which include those of Petrie's already published, with numerous others that had never previously seen the light. This work, as Dr. Stanford observes in his short preface, forms, quote, a vast treasure house of folk song, unquote. The man who did most in modern times to draw attention to Irish music was Thomas Moore. He composed his exquisite songs to old Irish airs, and songs and airs were published in successive numbers or volumes beginning in 1807. They at once became popular not only in the British Islands, but on the continent and in America. and Irish music was thenceforward studied and admired where it would never have been heard of but for more. The whole collection of songs and airs, well known as Moore's Melodies, is now published in one small, cheap volume. We know the authors of many of the airs composed within the last 200 years, but these form the smallest portion of the whole body of Irish music. All the rest have come down from old times, scattered fragments of exquisite beauty that remind us of the refined musical culture of our forefathers. To this last class belong such well-known airs as Savornin Dealish or Gaelish, Shularoon, Molly Astor, The Boyne Water, Gary Owen, Patrick's Day, Eileen Aroon, Langoli, also known as Dear Harp of My Country, The Groves of Blarney, which is apparently also known as The Last Rose of Summer, etc., etc. If you want to hear a version of The Last Rose of Summer performed by yours truly on a whistle, that is on my YouTube channel somewhere, I think. The last set to some nice imagery from the Boyne Valley. I'll paste that as a link. You can watch that afterwards and see what you think. I'm not an accomplished whistle player by any means, but I do like to play an odd tune on a whistle. To illustrate what is here said, I may mention that read it properly, Anthony, for goodness sake. To illustrate what is here said, I may mention that of about 120 Irish airs in all Moore's Melodies, we know the authors of less than a dozen. As to the rest, nothing is known either of the persons who composed them or of the times of their composition. As the Scotch of the western coasts and islands of Scotland were the descendants of Irish colonists, preserving the same language and the same traditions, and as the people of the two countries kept up intimate intercourse with each other for many centuries, the national music of Scotland is, as might be expected, of much the same general character as that of Ireland. The relationship of Irish and Scotch music may be stated as follows. There is in Scotland a large body of national melodies composed by native musicians, airs that are Scotch in every sense and not found in Irish collections. In Ireland, there is a much larger body of airs, acknowledged on all hands to be purely Irish and not found in Scotch collections. But outside of these are great numbers of airs common to the two countries and included in both Scotch and Irish collections. In regard to a considerable proportion of them, it is now impossible to determine whether they are originally Irish or Scotch. A few are claimed in Ireland that are certainly Scotch, but a very large number claimed by Scotland are really Irish, of which the well-known air Eileen Aroon or Robin Adair is an example. From the earliest times, Sandra Boothroyd says, amazing. And hello to you, Sandra. From the earliest times, you see, Sandra, I don't think we said hello to earlier on. So Sandra did the clever thing, snuck in late, didn't announce that she was late, and just is suddenly making comments. Of course, I could be completely wrong, Sandra, and I am, as you know, only being humorous. But we've had several latecomers this evening. Disgracefully late they were. Unbelievable. From the earliest times, it was a common practice among the Irish harpers to travel through Scotland. How close was the musical connection between the two countries is hinted at by the Four Masters, when in recording the death of Mulroney MacCarroll, they call him, quote, the chief minstrel of Ireland and Scotland, unquote. And there is abundant evidence to show that this connection was kept up till the close of the 18th century. Ireland was long the school for Scottish harpers, as it was for those of Wales. Quote, till within the memory of persons still living, the school for Highland poetry and music was Ireland, and thither professional men were sent to be accomplished in these arts, unquote. And that's from Jameson's edition of Letters from the North of Scotland, 1818. Wow. Such facts as these sufficiently explain why so many Irish airs have become naturalised in Scotland. It is not correct to separate and contrast the music of Ireland and that of Scotland as if they belonged to two different races. They are in reality an emanation direct from the heart of one Celtic people, and they form a body of national melody superior to that of any other nation in the world. Wow. So he has a footnote here, which seems to be a lengthy one. Sandra Boothroyd admits, puts her hands up and says, caught me. Gavin O'Flaherty is saying, I was only an hour late. An hour? Well, that's detention for you, my boy. Oh, stay back and recite in 1,000 words, 500 words. In 500 words, please write a summary of what we've been discussing this evening, which will require you to watch the episode again from the beginning. And no, Sandra cannot vote for me. And this is the footnote to that claim that the Irish and Scottish music that come direct from the heart of one Celtic people being of national melody superior to that of any other nation in the world is accompanied by this footnote. Those who wish to follow up the study of Irish music and its literature will find much information in the following works. Remember, these are citations from 1903. O'Curry's lectures on the subject in his Manners and Customs, and the corresponding portion of Sullivan's introduction. Dr. William Stokes's Life of Petrie. Petrie's Ancient Music of Ireland, including the preface. Bunting's prefaces to his 3 volumes, including Ferguson's and Petrie's essays in the 3rd volume. Lynch, Cambrensis Eversus, Chapter 4. Joyce's Ancient Irish Music and Irish Music and Song. Graham's introduction to Robinson's collection of Irish airs. Remark also what is said of Irish music preserved in the British Museum in a note at page 592 Supra. Yeah, there you go. That actually concludes the chapter, and we will, as of next week, be beginning the very last chapter of this book. But before we finish on the subject, I'm going to try and dig out a book that I found very intriguing that not sure whether I bought or was gifted a number of years ago, which contains some old Irish airs and tunes, and including a CD that has some old recordings on it. Just give me 1 second until I try and find that. Yes, and of course, always when you're live, you have trouble finding something that you probably otherwise would pick up at first glance. And of course, don't you know, typically, just when you're live and you need to find it quickly, you can't put your hand on it. Whew! Say nothing. I found it, and it is called The Other World: Music and Song from Irish Tradition. This was published in by Corla Velogis Aaron. Folklore Studies 2012. Okay. And yeah, so as I said, there's a CD, and that contains, there's two CDs and one of them is missing. I really, really hate when that happens. But there's a tune on that CD or on those CDs. There's a tune on that CD in which a gentleman, I believe, playing the fiddle rather than the whistle, the fadjog. He says that he learned the music from the fairies. The fairies taught him the tune. You'll find it when you're looking for something else. That's usually what happens. Like the last time I went looking for a book, couldn't find it, and 30 seconds after the live stream was finished, I actually saw it from a distance. Brilliant stuff, Tara. Glad you enjoyed it. Looking forward to seeing you next week. We live stream at the same time every week on a Monday evening at 8 p.m. Irish time. Sometimes we have to postpone for various reasons, but most of the time. So this for me is very special because these are words, sometimes bilingual, sometimes both in Irish and Osberla, sometimes only Osberla, sometimes only Oscailga. The Fiddler and the Fairy, told by Mickey Doherty. There was an old fiddle player at one time lived in Glenfin, and he only had the two tunes, but he was asked to go to a dance to Letterilly, a townland they call Letterilly. And on his way going, he had the fiddle with him, and he didn't care for going. He only had the two tunes. And as he was going along a lonely part of the road, there come a wee red-haired man out afore him. So this is obviously, transcribed from somebody saying it's exactly how somebody would have, a country person, as it were, might have spoken long ago. And as he was going along the lonely part of the road, there come a wee red-haired man out afore him. And the wee man asked him where he was going. He said he was going to a dance in Letterilly, and he would far rather not go on account of him only having the two tunes. And he knowed, Knowed, he knowed there would be a big crowd there, and it would be hard to play them the music. The wee man, says he to him, "What kind of a fiddle," he says, "have you with you?" So he took out the fiddle from under his coat, and he showed the fiddle to the wee man, and the wee man examined her. And he run his fingers across the strings 3 times, and he handed the fiddle back to him. "Well, go on," says he to the fiddle player. To this fiddle player, says he, "Go on," he says, "and don't be cowardly," he says. "In going to the dance tonight," he says, "there'll be no other fiddle player there," he says, "like you." So he went on, and when he came into the dance house, there was a very big crowd, and he took his seat to play for them, and he drew out the fiddle. And when he drew out the fiddle, he drew the bow on her, and she was twice as loud, and there wasn't a tune of 100 tunes, but he had. They all got up to dance, and they said they'd never heard a fiddler in this world like him. So he played on till the morning, and in fact he was able to rise the roof of the house with music. But he was the best fiddle player was supposed to be in this county. And he was a good fiddle player all his life and lived to be very old. And when he took death on his deathbed, the fiddle was hung above him where he was lying. And when he departed, the fiddle bursted on the wall. The fiddle bursted on the wall when he departed. He was the name of Heron. He was from a townland they call Garvan Hill. In this case, and this is a note to the story, the magic powers are transmitted to the fiddle rather than directly to the musician. The invocation of special numbers such as 3 plays an important role in establishing a sense of mystery in many folk tales. The gift bestowed on the man and the fiddle is taken away on the death of the musician, indicating that powers given by the fairies are often of a temporary nature. This masterful retelling of a common folk legend is part of a body of material, including the jig learned off the fairies, recorded on acetate disc from Mickey Doherty, the travelling musician, for the Irish Folklore Commission by Caoimhín O'Donoghue and Sean O'Holkey in a house in the Bluestack Mountains, County Donegal in January 1949. And that's the one I was describing to you. That's on one of the CDs, and I suspect it's probably the one that seems to be lost from the back of this book, which I will have to try to locate. Yeah. So, yes, I have used the F word. But I think in the circumstances, hopefully that is okay. Anyway, just one of the many publications that has come my way over the years that I find a fascinating insight into the past and how different life was, and how much poorer we are as a result of a loss of not necessarily the stories and the tunes, but our ability to recite them and to play them and to do so extemporaneously, as it were, or to regale each other. Modern life has overtaken Ireland too, folks. It's not the rustic old country that it used to be, and certainly was never really the one that De Valera envisioned when he spoke about comely maidens at the dancing at the crossroads. But there certainly was a time when story and music was a hugely important facet of literally every household in Ireland. And I often say that in addition to anything else that it might have been, was also most likely to have been a coping mechanism for long winter nights and short days, for cold, wet and windy weather, for colonization, for famine, for penal laws, and for all of those other things. So it's fascinating. So that book is, as I say, called The Other World, Music and Song from Irish Tradition. And it was published by the Irish Folklore Commission in 2012 in University College Dublin. Interesting to find out whether that is actually still in print. I suppose I could do a quick Google, couldn't I? The Other World, Music and Song from Irish Tradiisiúnta Éireann. Splendid large format, the book, the Journal of Music. Let me see, Four Courts Press. Paperback, €27, November 2012. New edition, September 2022. Ah, okay, so it has been republished. I'll send you that link. Some of you might want to get your hands on that. Yeah, interesting. And some great photography in there, of some of the musicians and some of the gatherings. Murish O'Dawley there with his squeeze box. And a lone bush surrounded by megaliths marks a revered place in Kilvine, County Mayo. Look at that. And there's, excuse me, a blacksmith in his forge in Clonmel, County Tipperary in 1988. Look at that, Tom King. And that's looks like a horseshoe that he has on. Doesn't look like an anvil, looks like a vice he has it in. Anyway, fascinating stuff. Yeah. So, another Mythical Ireland recommends for those of you interested, Rowan Grove, I better check. I think I may have that one. And I don't need to order two. Definitely not, unless, of course, you want to give one away as a gift to one of your friends. By the way, where can I find the Facebook live? I joined the group and followed the page. I can't seem to find the live video. It's on the official Mythical Ireland page. It's on the Facebook page, not the Mythical Ireland community or the Mythical Ireland creatives. Facebook.com/Mythical Ireland will take you there. I'll share that link for you there, Amanda. But just in case anyone else is looking for it. But what I will say is, quite regularly, the Facebook users report that the Facebook stream is not stable, whereas the YouTube users, when the Facebookers are having trouble with the stream, the YouTubers usually don't have any complaint. So it generally seems to be more stable on YouTube. But anyway, of course, if you're on the main page, don't forget to check out everything else. But I can see that Mythical Ireland is live now as the top post on that Mythical Ireland Facebook page. My grandfather, says Brendan Byrne, was a travelling fiddle player and won many awards for his playing. Brilliant stuff. Wow. What a great thing to be able to boast. My grandfather played the accordion, but I'm not sure. He died when I was 7. Yeah, I was 7 when he died. I have barely any memories of him, and I don't remember him playing music, so I don't think there's any. That was before the time that families had such things as video cameras, for instance, or tape recorders, you know. Mavanway says, congratulations, I'll get started on my essay. Brilliant stuff. John Finlay was 30 minutes late to class. I don't know. Maybe set your watches, folks. Come on. Set a reminder in your Google calendars. Monday at 8 or whatever time it is for you. If you're in San Francisco, it's midday. If you're in New York, it's 3 p.m. Yeah. Oh, of course, Desiree is making a point. Chatting is easier on Facebook. Yes. And I accept that. Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking and I don't see it. Is there a tab? No, it should be there as the most recent post. Just depends on how you filter the posts on it. You know the way Facebook sometimes shows you most relevant rather than newest. So maybe you just need to go in there and adjust that. Should I get the 2012 or 2022 version, do you think? Now, that's a good question because I only have the original, the 2012. It doesn't say that it's anything. Oh, it says new edition. 160 pages illustrated with 2 CDs. Yeah, well, this is 160 pages with 2 CDs. New edition. I presume it's just a reprint. So I don't know what to recommend, Mavanway. Get what you can get, I suppose, you know. Anthony, as always, says Elaine, another great episode. Thank you for allowing us along. Oh, look, it's my pleasure. And it'd be nothing without having you along, in fairness. Homework for all of us will be to compose a piece of music for the next Tua's reunion for episode 320. Do you know, Rocio, that sounds like a wonderful idea. And in the meantime, for some inspiration, have a look at or listen to The Last Rose of Summer, played on the whistle by me good self. And maybe, just maybe, that'll completely put you off. Brad Marcus says, I'm watching your YouTube channel now. Very blessings from the Tua de Dan. Thank you very much, Brad. And hello. I'm not sure if we've seen you before, so you are very, very welcome to Live Irish Myths at the end of the episode, of course. But don't forget, as soon as we finish the episode, whether it's on Facebook or on YouTube, the video of the live stream will immediately be available to rewatch, just in case you arrived late. And by the way, I did get my hands on a couple of things during the week, which are a red notebook and a gold notebook. And I was thinking maybe for the star pupils, they would like to have their names entered in the gold notebook. That'll encourage good behavior. Yeah. What a cool topic. And the CDs are interesting too. Yeah, I'm just annoyed with myself that one of them is missing. It's possibly slipped out of the book and is in there among the other books. Hopefully it will. Brad says, I will write a poem about the fairies. Looking forward to that. Amanda June Haggerty. Oh, I found it. Woo! I'll dig out the ukulele, says Mavanway. Brilliant. My first time commenting. Well, Brad, you're very, very welcome. And don't be shy. you'll always be made to feel part of the Tua, the tribe, or the family. Anyway, that is it, folks. Don't forget to subscribe to the emails, and great to see Mythical Ireland, the reprinted version, on the printing press last week, and hoping to have copies in my hand sometime in the coming week. That's what happens when I took the notebooks down and I didn't put them back up properly. Everything falls down on top of me. I am uninjured. I'm unharmed. You'll be glad to hear. And I hear some of you saying, damn. Because that means we have to listen to his awful humor for the next time. But anyway, if you haven't got a copy of what is my best-selling book, Mythical Ireland, New Light on the Ancient Past, as I say, I will have new copies fresh on the printer next in the coming week. I'll just post the link there where you can get your hands on it, a signed copy by the author, yours truly. In the meantime, all that remains for me to say at this point, apart from please do support the channel and the live streams by becoming a patron of Mythical Ireland over at patreon.com/Mythical Ireland. All that remains for me to say now is Ikawa Kolosov Slán Gafol. Good night, sound sleep, bye for now, and most importantly, as I always say, most important of the parting greetings is Toga Bugge. Take it easy.